E-catalogues. Well, putting an E in front of anything really means that you've just automated it or digitized it or removed paper. So long gone are the days when suppliers would come for a visit and they would bring a brochure of their products. And they would leave it with the purchasing department and they would go through that catalog, and they would have to leave more catalogs if they wanted to give it to more people to make a decision. And then they would send a fax through to the supplier and they would quote the product. The introduction of technology to support catalogs has meant that you really have three types of e-catalogs. And again, in the supply chain management world, these are all obviously linked into your purchasing processes, which nominally are called purchase to pay. So in the purchasing side of that value chain, you need to still, obviously, have a look at what a supplier can offer you. You may have a contract in place that they supply you with office furniture, but you might be in a branch and you need a certain type of chair and a certain type of conference room table. You still need to go and look at pictures and browse that catalog to make a decision. But the good news is now that with technology, you don't need to look at the physical paper anymore. On your PC, you can go through those images just like you would be buying something on Amazon. And you would click on the ones you want and create a shopping cart, and that would get approved. But just to talk about the mechanics of how that e-catalog works, as I said, three types. The first one is where you manage that catalog internally. And the supplier sends you the data, and that would include images of their catalog. And you would host and manage that catalog internally. So you would typically have a description of the product, you'd have an image, a price, other related aspects. But that catalog and the maintenance of it would be available and visible only inside that organization. That's the first kind. The second kind is a supplier-hosted catalog. Now that office furniture supplier could maintain a catalog on an e-marketplace or on their own internal systems and have all that data and those price points and images and everything else they need to describe their products on a server that you as the purchasing organization can then plug into and view and select from, just as if it was on your own network. And the third kind is where it is hosted by a mutual third party, which again would be your marketplace. And that catalog would then be probably collaborated through multiple suppliers to create, and it could be office furniture from a range of suppliers for a range of products that could then be accessed from a range of purchasing organizations. So the mechanics of the e-catalog are really managed in three different ways. But it is no different really from that original paper-based catalog, where a supplier simply needs to educate their customer about what they can offer. And the way they do that is obviously to their benefit, and where you have people in an organization committing their company to spend, it's in your interest to make sure they do that with the best available data. And like with their experience at home, and they might be buying a lounge suite or a coffee table on whichever website it is that they want to go and browse, the more that they can zoom into the image and they can, get more information about it and look at reviews, for example, the more they're able to make an informed decision. Now, just to end off with an important point around pricing, depending on the three models that I described, pricing would be handled slightly differently. There could be a single price point for a given product for all companies, or there could be a negotiated price point that is within a specific contract that is part of a relationship between a specific supplier and a specific purchasing organization. So often pricing is a little bit of a sticky point with catalogs, and sometimes pricing is often actually just left out, or a range is given and left to the purchase order process. And again, even if you've got the pricing sorted out, there could be bulk discounts and threshold level pricing that kicks in once you order a certain quantity, etc. And the more advanced catalogs can most certainly handle all of those rules. So again, e-catalogues is really just automating that process of discovering what it is that you actually want to buy, and making sure that from a supplier point of view, you've educated your customers, and from a customer's point of view, such as with an F&B, if we're buying that office furniture, that we've negotiated those contracts, that the catalogues we can see are pre-approved. And we're not allowing our people to buy from suppliers that are not already on our preferred supplier list, as an example. And so if you've got all of those requirements ticked off, then your e-catalogues is quite an enabler, and certainly engages the whole organization in the purchasing process.
Audio Jungle.